All right. So we're in here today and we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. JJ. Very light, like very light. This is something that he manifested. JJ, he gonna tell you about himself, but look, I've known JJ for a very long time. He is one of the most honorable stand-up guys. He puts his hands in and on everything, and everything he touches, it turns into gold. He's a man of God and he listens to whatever is being told to him, and he spreads the word and gives so much value to everyone around him. He and I have met through mutual friends and we became great friends. So it's my honor to bring on someone with so much experience. JJ, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, what you do. Tell us the people what we got.
Well, me, I'm originally born in Honduras. I live in New Orleans right now. Came to America at 3 years old. Grew up in New Orleans from 3 to 20. So from 3 years old to 20 years old, I lived in New Orleans. I ended up in Houston after Hurricane Katrina. And around that time, around Hurricane Katrina, I was a hip hop rapper and I was decent. You heard me? I had bars, you understand? By God's grace for me, oh my God, I've never been an average guy. Thank God. I got to Houston and, I modeled the selling CDs out the trunk model. I modeled that business and that got me on the radio. I was on the radio for 19 weeks in a row in Houston. And then by God's grace, I discovered I had a speaking gift and a guy put me on TV and I'm interviewing, Big Pokey, Rick Ross, Zero. I'm interviewing everybody. And that developed with my speaking gift. And I was like, oh my God, like I really got something. And then, God set me up and helped me get into the TV. And then I end up giving my life to God and I started preaching. And all this during, I was selling the hip hop CDs and then I started selling CDs with me preaching on it. On the streets of Houston, like I'm literally making like $300-400 a day selling sermons with me preaching, going to Beaumont and all this other stuff. So I did that for quite some time. And then, I got into real estate. And so I've been in real estate now since 2018. I'm a 7-time author, not just an author, 7-time. Come on, somebody. I don't like when people call me an author. No, I'm 7-time. You gotta put the 7 on that thing. You understand?
7 on it.
You gotta put the 7. Don't play me like that. So I got 2 more books coming out next month. I got a lot going on, but that's pretty much it. I'm in real estate. I'm developing my virtual ministry right now, and that's what I got going on. So that's that's the podcast
version. The long short version. Like there's so many layers.
That's the podcast version.
Definitely, there's so many layers, and just being able to kind of be a part of that journey and just to kind of see it, like you said, just starting with the music and then going into the ministry and now going into the real estate, being a part of that journey and seeing it unfold has definitely been something truly, truly amazing. And once you got into the real estate space, you started out with Wholesale. And I remember that's kind of where we really and truly connected was in the wholesale space. So how you said 2018 is when you got into Wholesale. With that, like, what has that experience been like? 2018 to 2023, it's changed a lot. The dynamics have changed. It's being more exposed now. People are knowing about it. So what can you say, like from 2018 until now, what has been that big shift or change in the industry that you've seen?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go backwards because I don't really, this is just my opinion speaking from my, I don't believe much has changed. Nothing changed outside for me. What really changed for me was inside. I believe life, you can dominate any space and be successful in any space once you engineer yourself for the success, because real estate to me is like every other industry, whether you're in network marketing, whether you're in real estate, whether you're a car salesperson, like they got people coming in and out the space every day, right? But if you decide to be part of the 1% or the 3%, whatever, but you still gotta engineer yourself. So for me, I'm very, very detached from everything going on in on the external side. Yes, there's a lot of exposure, but I also understand that as an entrepreneur, well, not as an entrepreneur, as a human, you attract whatever you're paying attention to. So because I'm in the, like for an example, I'm gonna buy that Rolls Royce. Give me some time, you heard me? But I follow Rolls Royce pages on Instagram. I see the Rolls Royce. When I go to Houston, I see them everywhere, like they everywhere because I'm vibrating in that direction. You feel me? So what I would tell people, I would say if you can focus on engineering yourself, it's very light.
Very
light.
right. Look, there you go. So the
It's
mindset
light.
is definitely a big piece. Being in the industry, I think that's something I learned early on, was like where your mind is, hearing no and objections and going and knocking and getting turned down and getting contracts that don't go through. I think that's kind of the part of the game where you have to be resilient and you have to say, okay, I'm going to do this until, and then once you kind of get that first deal, it becomes like the confidence gets there. And now you have your systems and you start to do things a little better. So tell us about your first deal and your biggest deal. We want to hear about that.
My first deal, it's crazy because I was, my wife at the time, me and her, when we was married, every time we would come here to New Orleans, we would go by her mama house.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was coming out here selling t-shirts, I was selling my t-shirts and my books and my CDs or whatever. And as soon as I discovered, wholesaling, right, literally like 30 steps away from her house, they had 2 vacant houses. And I was like, what? And those was so the house on the left was my first deal. I think I made what, $4,000 on my first deal. And it took 45 days. It wasn't much at all. I had did a deal before. Actually, my first deal was before that, but I don't really count that one. But I count that one right there because that was the first one I did all by myself. But absolutely, well, I don't want to say no help because I did do a JV deal with somebody else. But that was my first deal, 45 days, and my biggest deal was 32K.
32K. That's life changing, just to be able to do the work, put the work in, the time, going from a 4K deal to going to a $32,000 deal, that could change someone's life, and not knowing when that next deal is going to happen. Every deal has the potential to be your biggest deal. So I think you sharing that perspective, because a lot of people in the industry, they think like, oh, every deal is going to be a home run. Every deal may be a 4,000 or a 5,000 or a 2,000, but you got to keep working it until you get the big deal. And I think that's truly what it is. Now, you and I JV'd on something. Go ahead.
Actually, my smallest deal was $700.
$700. But think about it, for pushing paperwork, having conversations, $700, you still can't be mad about that. Some people have to go to work for hours and hours to get that. And it's like, we're able to be the middleman in the situation, being able to play that connector to bridge the gap for people. And I think that's the biggest key about wholesale, is you really get to be the middleman on several deals at a time. And once you get really good at being the middleman, it gets easier and easier every single time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was going into like the time when you and I JV'd, right? We JV'd. And for those who don't know, JV means joint venture. I believe I had the deal and I brought you in, or you had the deal and brought me in. Either way, it was a deal. It was a time. It was a journey. And I think that's something that we learned. It built our friendship because we were driving for dollars together. We rode around. We were finding houses. We were kind of figuring it out. We were just riding around the city looking for these opportunities. We ran across this deal. And you want to tell them about the headaches that came with it?
The biggest headache for me was the biggest lesson that I'm actually dealing with somebody right now who I'm mentoring in the space, is that never lock up the deal at a number. Number one, you never accept the seller's offer, because most of the time they're not right.
Right.
Because they don't do the math. They don't do it from the place of, what they want to sell it for, the rehab and all this other stuff. They don't see it from the investor's perspective. Right. And they might think that the investor or the wholesaler or whatever is trying to get over on them. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm just trying to get it at the right number that I know I'm going to be able to sell it on. So the biggest lesson for me on that deal was to never, ever, 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 1,000 evers, get it at the number that I know I can't move it at, because I'm going to lose so much time. I lost 3 months of my life messing around with that deal.
Yeah, we just kind of give backstory on it. We met with the lady. She gave us a number. Her and her husband gave us a number. We took the deal, being new in the industry, we were excited. Like, all right, we could work this, like you said, just being able to, the numbers were right. And as you kind of get more seasoned, you're not afraid to tell people no. You're not afraid to say that doesn't work. You're not afraid to walk away from a deal, because your time invested is way more important, because you could have worked 2 or 3 other deals in that time when that person was going back and forth with numbers. So we worked that deal. The numbers never really worked. We were just trying to squeeze a lemon that was done. you know, and we did that over and over again, still didn't close it. It came back months later. She tried to do another deal. It didn't work. So the numbers had been wrong from the start. And we both learned a big lesson. But JVing is such a beautiful thing because you can partner with people. You can get in there in the trenches and really work with somebody and really do a lot of good stuff.
Let me say this, if anything, we messed up the game for the next season investor because by us accepting her offer, most likely made us think like, you know, I'm right, this is what I want. And, you know, they get stuck on that number. And for somebody who really knew what they was doing, because she ended up selling the house, right? It probably, I know they got it cheaper. I know they did.
Way cheaper, yeah.
I know they did. But because, let's just assume he got it at a, you know, $30,000 less or whatever, they knew what they was talking about, so that they was able to get the deal done. You understand? Right. So, yeah, if anything, we messed up the game for somebody, and that happens. It happens. You know, somebody over here, like I had a guy who had a lot. You know, I'm seasoned in the lot era, in the lot space, right? So he like, I want 150 for this lot. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no way, ain't nobody gonna pay you that in the most respectable way. Right. And then Aunt Tita called me, who really owned the lot, and she just was going on and on and on. So one day for Christmas, I met him in 2020. The Christmas of 2020 or 2021, I can't remember exactly. I texted him one day. I'm like, you know, Merry Christmas. I said, you got that 150 yet? And he just texted me back, busting out laughing. He was like, man, you know, I ain't get that 150. I know you didn't. I know you didn't, because nobody gonna pay the 150. At a good number, at the highest offer, they probably can get 70 at the max. And probably today 70. Back then, probably 50. You feel me? But I didn't chase him because I know that ain't the number. That is not the number.
Yep, you can't force it. It's like putting a square in a round hole. It's not gonna work. You can sit there and go back and forth. You can get the contract in place, but if it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. And I think that's the biggest lesson that we could take away from that experience going forth. That definitely changed the trajectory of business for me. Was like, okay, we got to know the number. We got to stick to the number. And that's kind of what it is. And walking away has actually brought more deals back to me, saying, hey, we can't do that. Just recently, a lady that I spoke to 3 months ago, I told her no on the number. She just recently reached out to me and said she's willing to take the offer I gave her the first time, which was $30,000 less.
Man, let me tell you, living in Houston, I'm living, let's just say, by Bush. Drive to Hobby, because that's what the deal was at. It was in Hobby.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about 30 minutes a pop.
Every time.
30 minutes a pop, you feel me? And I went there like at least 3-4 times. And I remember after that deal was over, I said, you know what? I am never, like I said, I lost 3 months of my life going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, my God, never. Like, you know, luckily for me now, I got so many deals coming through my pipeline that you can say no. You can say, it's okay, because you got to say no, because like that, you're going to lose. That's how I like to magnify the situation, because that's really what it is. I lost 3 months of my life. You know, I paid 3 months of my life to get a lesson. Like I can't, I don't want to do that like that. If I can,
nobody wants to invest that kind of time. Time and money are the two things that, you know, are very, very important. Is whether you're going to invest the time now or you're going to invest it later, something's going to happen. And it's like that lesson taught you something that you can take forward and be able to use it. So I would say, like, what is one gem or tip that you would give to a new investor outside of the time? Because that's a gem in itself, but what would be something else that you would give them?
I would say, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna speak from a place of where I'm at today, that it took me a long time to understand is that this business can be like a guaranteed slot machine if you learn how to do it. And what I mean by that is like, when I first got started, it took me almost 2 years to understand that the way to make this business predictable is to invest in marketing. I got stuck for too long, Rhonda, driving for dollars, because it was the freeway. It was the easy way to get deals. And it took me until like my 7th deal. I don't know how it happened, but I was like the light came on, like, oh, wow. So if I was to, I think the bandit signs did it for me. When I started doing bandit signs,
Yep.
I spent like $1,000 on signs, and my first bandit sign deal was $8K. And then I did a $20K deal, and then I did a 32. The 32 came from a bandit sign. Well, the buyer came from the bandit sign. I knew the seller, but the point of it is that if you can learn marketing, you can't be scared to invest the money because the marketing makes it predictable.
Yep.
The other day, check this out. This is a true story. This might sound extreme, but it's real. You understand? I spent $100, $100, not 100, 100. I spent $100 on a VA campaign. I got a partner of mine who has VAs. Like, they hire on demand. You can hire them. They do X amount of calls, and then there's no monthly. You don't got the call tools, none of that. I spent them, listen, Rhonda, $100. And I got a deal back. I made $6,500 from the $100.
$100. Marketing. That's the biggest piece.
I just spent $350 with him 2 days ago, starting a new campaign. Because I know if I put the money in it, if I don't put the money in it, then I got to go the old school route to driving for dollars. And I've been around, a little bit too long to do that. That's the slow way.
Yeah.
That's the slow way. So to answer your question again, in a more sophisticated way, is don't be scared to invest in marketing. And the second thing, I'm gonna add a second thing right now, since this is going out to your people. I'm gonna tell you something. Do what your coach tell you to do. I help a guy right here in New Orleans. He did his first deal for 25 grand on his first deal. You know why? He listened to every word I told him to do. I said, listen, if you want to get a deal, this is what you do. And it's so amazing. It wasn't even a JV. It was his own deal. Now I could have partnered. I couldn't find a buyer for him. But his first deal was 25 grand because he listened to everything I told him to do. Yep. And sometimes, and I can understand, based on your entrepreneurship background, you might got some cobwebs in your mind, and like you don't believe certain stuff and you want to do everything by yourself and da-da-da. That's the devil. Okay. So if you can listen, if you're lucky to have somebody in your circle that has done deals before you or have experience before you, listen to what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Because my God, I mean, when I sit and think about it, like, this boy did 25 grand because he listened to words that came out of my mouth. That's powerful.
That's powerful. And the experience, and I definitely want to highlight that, JJ, because you've actually been one of the most consistent people in the industry. Like you said, you started from the freeway, the bandit signs and the skip tracing and doing all those things yourself, hands-on, that you were able to use those tools and be able to scale your business, right? You took the money, you scaled your business. Now you're investing in ads and you're investing in VAs and you're doing all those things, but you didn't start there. And I like the fact that you spoke on that you didn't start there, but you started from the ground up. Literally getting in the car, driving 30 plus minutes, doing it yourself. I remember JJ was on Facebook, looking people up. He'd go into the house, talking to the grandma, the aunt, the auntie, the kids. I remember the deal you had where you had to talk to like a whole family and go back and forth with them. But you wouldn't be where you are right now in the space unless you did the groundwork. You have to start there. It has to start there, And I think that's something that we have to definitely tip our hats and be able to just clap it up for you and just say thank you for being consistent in the space.
Wholesaling was one of the biggest opportunities I ran across in my life. And I was like, man, if this is it, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been praying for. Yeah, literally, And I would have never knew with my background, because I wasn't very light. I was very hard. I was, very grind. Everything was about the grind. I hate that message today. Like, I work from home, I be inside chilling. Yeah. Working from home, but that wasn't a real thing. That wasn't a real reality in my subconscious mind. That didn't exist. I thought it was, like most people, I thought it was a scam, fake, cell phonepreneurs, like, please knock it up. Like, there's no such thing. It's funny now because now I don't entertain nothing unless I can do it from my cell phone and my laptop. I'm trying to be like Rhonda out here. You understand?
Hey, look.
Like,
look, we know the possibilities of it. And I love that we're able to speak on this platform and share with so many people about this, like being able to get into the real estate space with no money. Most people think you need money. They think you need experience. They think you need to have a license. This is a method that can get you in the door. There's so many more things you can do with wholesale. And, we can go in there and do different creative deals to get property and become a landlord and all types of things. But you can start here. This is entry level stuff that you can do today if you just take action. So JJ, if somebody wants to partner with you and bring you a deal and you work with them, what does that look like for you? What are you expecting for them? Or how do they even reach out to you?
Just reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. Both of my sites are JJ Simmons Very Light. JJ Simmons, the first name, Very Light, my last name or whatever. Just reach out to me. And, make sure the numbers are right, because by God's grace, I've been doing it long enough. I can look at it and be like, I know if I'm going to invest my time or if I'm not going to invest my time. So if I ignore you, it's because it just don't make sense to me from the front. Like I got a partner of mine who worked virtually here in New Orleans. He's in Houston. And he be sending me lots that are with agents. And I'm like, I can't do nothing with that because you got to understand the agents are spiking it up.
Right. It's already
like
a number on it.
Yeah, me being on the wholesale side, she trying to sell it at 60. I know that they're really going for 35 in this area. I'm not going to entertain that.
Right.
But like I've been telling him, and obviously the light not coming on for him, I'm like, bro, you got to learn how to find your own deals because if not, you're going to keep running into this problem because the agent get into it before you because you didn't know how to go direct to seller.
Direct to seller.
Like, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But
we're gonna do a part 2 where we get in here and do our rants and we're really gonna talk about it. But I don't want to expose the people because if the person is not trustworthy, if they don't know what they're doing, if they can't get the deal done, I'm not gonna expose them on my platform. So understand the fact that you're seeing JJ and I'm telling you how to get in contact with him lets you know that this is the man. If you want to get a deal done, reach out to JJ. I'm going to put his information below. He just told you JJ Very Light. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on Facebook, but I trust him. I trust in what he does. I trust in his brand. I trust in his experience. So if you can't get the deal done, this is someone that you can put in the position to help you. JJ, what areas do you specialize in? What areas and what stuff do you like?
I'm in New Orleans right now. Anything in New Orleans. I'm in New Orleans, the surrounding area. Anything, Metairie, Kenner, West Bank, Slidell, anything here. I am moving back to Houston in the summer. And I'm going to still be here, popping. You heard me?
Yeah,
popping.
There you go. JJ has definitely locked up the New Orleans market, the Louisiana market. If any deals that I get, I'm taking them straight to JJ because he knows exactly where to take it, how to get it off. We're not going to wait. We go into the closing table immediately. So I already know that it's a done deal, but I definitely appreciate you, just sharing these gems, being able to speak to the newest person in the room, letting them know what's possible. I look forward to doing way more deals with you. I look forward to being able to send some people your way, but we definitely appreciate your time. Guys, don't forget, you can reach JJ at JJ Very Light, Instagram and Facebook. Reach out. If he doesn't respond, it's because the deal is a no-go and he doesn't want to waste his time, right? He's a very busy man, so make sure the deal makes sense. JJ, do you have any words to close us out?
Thank you for asking. I want to repeat what I said earlier about the spiritual engineering part. When I begin to engineer myself on the spiritual side, whatever your spiritual practices might be, meditation, yoga, whatever you do, the Bible, whatever. In my case, it was the Word of God. By God's grace, I've succeeded more in the last 30 months than I did in the 14 years combined. And it was interesting, but that was the missing key for me. It was the spiritual engineering. It was because, a lot of us, we have a lot of clutter on the inside. We got a lot of data that we have accumulated from other people. And you don't really know what you believe. Your faith is not set. Because this is what I tell people all the time, and I want to share this with your people. You got to approach any business, but since we're in real estate, let's use real estate. You got to approach real estate knowing that the deal is already done, that is already yours. You have to receive it spiritually before it show up in real life. And a lot of people, this was an era that I had back in the day, is that I was chasing something that I really didn't have on the inside. I've never sat to figure out how to conceive the $100,000. It was an idea, but I didn't have it on the inside. You feel me? So you got to learn how to engineer yourself to conceive things, to get pregnant with it on the inside, to build the image on the inside of what it is that you want. A lot of people, you might get in real estate and, you just want to quit your job. That's cool. That's cool. Not a problem with that. The problem is, as you begin to do the business and it's not going as fast as you want, you got to check yourself to make sure, do you really have it on the inside? I have this thing that I do every morning when I wake up. The first thing I do, I listen to a video. I either watch a sermon or I watch The Secret. I've been watching The Secret every day for the last 10 days. Why? Because I got to make sure that this machine of mine, this brain of mine, this spirit of mine is in check. You feel me? I don't get up and I start getting on the phone chasing. No. I don't do that till about after 1 o'clock. When I tell you, if I get up at 7, I don't touch nothing until I do my spiritual devotion. I get up, I watch the video. Next thing I do, I go in my living room, I write my goals down. Next thing I do my affirmations. Next thing I do, I read my word. This stuff, because guess what? It worked. So now it's my responsibility to keep this engineering alive and active, so everything else is very light. So when you got light on the inside, it's very light outside. Yeah. The problem with most people is that it's dark inside, it's complicated inside, so you can't even speak light.
Do it.
So that's the spiritual engineering element. That's what I want to leave you with, because I'm gonna tell you something. That's bigger than the real estate. Once you get that together, the real estate is gonna be light. It's gonna be easy. I'm telling you.
Very light. Look, and it's a big piece, and I'm grateful for you speaking on that, because like you said, people rush into entrepreneurship. They rush into these side hustles and these gigs, and it's like, if you're not right on the inside, it doesn't matter. Nothing on the outside is going to manifest. Nothing can get in. Nothing can break darkness but light. So you have to get light. So I definitely appreciate that message, and I'm excited again, guys. JJ, very light, Instagram and Facebook. JJ, thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.